Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're going to discuss about having orchids in bloom no matter the time of the year. Somebody actually mentioned that they would like to see a video from me with the blooming season of particular orchids. So as you can imagine, the trick to having orchids in bloom any time of the year is to have multiple species of orchids. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a grand collection, but a few different species can help with your bloom display, and with a bit of luck you can have orchids in bloom no matter the time of the year. So let's take them chronologically. We are now in autumn, so let's see what orchids usually bloom in autumn. So here we have the beautiful Cycnotus Wine Delight that at the moment fills my greenhouse with its fragrance. Autumn usually is the season of Catasetum orchids. At this time their growth stage is done and they're preparing their flower spikes and their beautiful flowers. Of course there are some species that can extend their bloom to winter as well, but usually in a temperate climate with distinct seasons you can get them in autumn or late autumn. Some other orchids that you can have in bloom in autumn are Oncidium Hybrids, because these guys actually bloom whenever they feel like it, at least for me. I have them in bloom almost all seasons, so in autumn you can definitely have Oncidiums in bloom, but also some Cattleya hybrids and species, which benefited from the sunny days of summer and now they're ready to produce flowers in the autumn. Also you can have Vandas and Vanda-related orchids in bloom at this time, because again, they grew a lot during summertime and in the autumn they can still produce flower spikes for you. Asian Cymbidiums, unlike the Australian Cymbidium, blooms in the autumn as well usually. So if you have this type of Cymbidium, now is the time to enjoy its flowers. Another orchid you can enjoy in the autumn time is the Paphiopedilum. Again, this guy can bloom pretty much at any time of the year, especially the complex hybrids that are usually found in the stores. There might be species with particular types of growth, but for the main part, the hybrids you find in the stores can bloom whenever they feel like it. Moving on to winter. Now, just because it's not sunny and warm anymore, it doesn't mean that orchids won't bloom. And one famous orchid that blooms during Christmas time actually is the angraecum sesquipedale. For this reason, the sesquipedale is also called the Christmas orchid. The crowd favorite orchid, the famous Phalaenopsis, the complex hybrid you can find in the stores, usually blooms in the winter time as well. But this usually happens in temperate climates which do benefit from lower temperatures in September. If in your climate you can get temperatures of 15 degrees Celsius to 18 degrees Celsius in September, this is the moment when Phalaenopsis will start to spike, and in the winter you can expect the first blooms to open. At this time you can also have the Oncidiums in bloom. As I was saying, for me they don't seem to have a particular blooming season. If they're cared for correctly, they will send out a spike and bloom even in winter. And even though this is not their season, you can also have complex Cattleya hybrids in bloom. Cattleyas usually bloom in warmer seasons, but I do have some hybrids that have no trouble blooming in the winter as well. Moreover, the Cattleya Hawaiian Splashlea that I have seems to have much better blooms in colder seasons, such as winter time. The color is just more vivid than in the summertime. Springtime is a season when many orchids are in bloom, starting with the Phalaenopsis orchids. If you didn't manage to get blooms in the winter time, most probably the springtime will bring the much desired flowers of the Phalaenopsis complex hybrid. Springtime is also the season for Dendrobium nobilis and deciduous dendrobiums such as the anosmum. These orchids benefit from a drier and cooler rest during winter time, but come springtime they will blast into full bloom. There are also Cattleya orchids that bloom in springtime, particularly species, and one of them is the Cattleya mosiae. She can mature its pseudobulbs in the autumn or winter and produce a sheath that doesn't do anything until springtime, but usually the mosiae only blooms in the springtime. Once again, the Oncidiums and Paphiopedilum orchids can bloom in the springtime. Another beautiful species that usually blooms in the springtime is the Coelogene cristata. Usually this orchid takes cooler temperatures in the winter time, and come spring, she produces flower spikes and blooms. But there is some variety within this species. You can get the beautiful blooms even without a cooler winter. Summertime is definitely the season of Vanda orchids. Although they can bloom in the spring and autumn as well, depending on the climate, most probably Vandas will be in full bloom in the summertime when temperatures are higher, day is longer, and the sun is up in the sky. Many Cattleyas and Cattleya-related species prefer to bloom in the warm months of summer as well. Although again, depending on the hybrid, you can have Cattleyas in bloom pretty much at any time of the year. The summer-blooming Phalaenopsis species are also in full bloom in summertime, and you can have them in bloom for all the warm months of the summer and also extend into autumn. Summertime is also a good season for Dendrobium Phalaenopsis because they do like the warm temperatures. However, I do have Dendrobium Phalaenopsis type orchids that bloom in the spring and also autumn. So these are the orchids that I had in bloom in their particular seasons. Mind you, when you purchase an orchid, it might be forcibly induced into blooming and it might be off season. This way you can find Dendrobium nobilis in bloom in full summer or in autumn, and also Phalaenopsis orchids in bloom in full summer. But this is something else, and what I just told you refers to the orchids that you have in your collection and you grow according to your environment and your seasonal changes. And of course, you can have orchids that bloom off-season. It just happens sometimes and it's always a nice surprise. So pretty soon the Phalaenopsis orchids will start to spike again. And I intend to redo the video that I did quite a few years ago because it simply deserves a better quality video. And I also have a twist for it. But what I would like you guys to do is to let me know down below if you would like to see other older videos that I made being redone right now with a better camera and more information that I now know. And I know one of you guys suggested that I remake the video in which I talk about how to purchase healthy orchids and how to spot the sick ones. So I will redo that. But if you have other suggestions, do let me know in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to rate it below with a like. And if you didn't like this video, just rate it with a dislike. You can also subscribe for daily orchid videos, and I'll see you all next time. Bye! You know how you know summer is over or it's coming to an end? The Bellina stops blooming. 2 buds have fallen already and there's no more bud forming in the future as far as I can see. So the growing season starts, summer is over, but no worries, the complex hybrids should work on flower spikes.